Alright, welcome back ladies and gentlemen, FNews57 here once again on my Xbox One this morning to go ahead and bring you another guide. Today we are getting right into the guide with gameplay at the same time. I don't know how good that's going to do, but this video will be showing you how to unlock the Island Glow Green weapon skin. Of course, I'll finish adding the title and I'll show that off, but I wanted to start the recording during gameplay simply so that you could see the skins unlock. Now, unfortunately, this is a brand new event that just came out this afternoon. It actually wasn't even updated correctly for one shot, one kill on Gears 5, and it is now, of course, pretty late in the evening. It's 10:50 p.m. Eastern Time. When about an hour ago, the game finally updated for me, showing the skins as the reward, as opposed to just getting 3,000 Gears coins. Now, the 3,000 Gears coins is alright. I will show you the medals that you have to do, but basically the big problem with this is you have to get a shitload of kills, and unless you are a super good one-shot, one-kill player, or happen to find a versus lobby, then it's going to be a little bit difficult to do unless you get lucky and get into a boosting lobby. But since I got my last kill there, that was actually a match that went on a lot longer than I thought it would, because we had a win and then we lost, and this is the best match that I've had so far. 21 kills, 15 deaths, and 1 assist, because the assist you're not really likely to get. So I actually put in work there fairly decently, surprisingly. So I'll give these guys a GG because they were actually pretty good. And even though I was standing there setting up my recording, they didn't kill me, which was pretty nice. So I don't know if they just were being nice or whatnot, but you have to get 100 eliminations in the OSOK versus event, and then you get the Island Glow Green weapon set, and it is the full weapon set. So as you can see, now that we completed that medal, there's the full weapon set, and we can go back to the lobby. I will show you the medals that need to be completed, and of course, there's a couple game clips that I would like to share with you, because that gameplay was pretty much me just standing there waiting around, which unfortunately one shot, one kill pretty much takes one of two approaches, and it's either a really slow game with everybody camping and waiting, or it's a really fast game with everybody bouncing around like crackheads on, SpaceX. It's just ridiculous. Anyways, in this particular version of one shot, one kill, you get a long shot that starts with 51 rounds. It operates just like a normal long shot, except there's extremely reduced body damage, no bot backfilling, no way to just face the same platform of players as you. So you can be facing PC players or mouse and keyboard players. And on top of all of that annoyance, there is no melee. So if you want to play the event, you go to multiplayer versus, and there's the one shot, one kill playlist. It's exactly that, long shots only, a shitload of ammo, no melee. You can still vault over cover and pull enemies over cover and assassinate them, but it's extremely rare to do, so don't rely on it. Personally, I wish that there was no joining a match in progress. Well, at the end of the day, I wish we could just do the versus events in a custom game so you didn't have to deal with aggravating situations, but I would much rather have bot backfilling, and I wish that they would go back to the way one shot, one kill was, where you only got like 10 rounds in the long shot and you could melee. So it made it more fun, in my opinion. But what you have to do is complete the one shot, one kill medals, which is that all you got. Complete 5 matches in the OSOK versus event. And you have to do Let's Go Who's Up Next, which is win 5 rounds in the OSOK versus event. That one can be a little bit challenging, but because it's rounds instead of games, technically it's pretty easy. Much to my surprise, I actually got the win 5 rounds done before I got the That's All You Got. Of course, by the time I got that done, I was only around 50 elims, in the event, because unless you're like a freak show or you have just ridiculously good games or long games like that previous one where I got 21 kills in it, most of the time I find myself averaging around 10 kills per game. Sometimes a little bit less, sometimes a little bit more, just depending on whether it's a game we win and how freakishly good the players are in the game. So sometimes you get that one player that's just really try hard and you just can't get a kill. It does count if you get damage, though, so if you can't get a kill, at least if you hit the opponent and then someone else kills them before they heal, you still get credit for the medal. It just counts as assist. However, as you've seen, the assists are pretty rare. In that game, I had 21 kills and still only 1 assist because the amount of damage is roughly 60 damage on a body shot out of the 600 required to kill an opponent, so you pretty much have to hit them 10 times in rapid succession just to even down an enemy, which is possible, but highly unlikely. So once you complete those 3 medals, which also give you some stars, and they do count towards the versus event playlist, of course. But once you complete that, you will have your newfound weapon skins. And you can simply go to customize, and then you can take a look at all of the weapon skins. So depending on where you are, the skins look better or worse. In this case, the default map seems to go back to Pahanu as a backdrop, but I found a little secret. If you go to Escape and host a game in Escape, you can get a lighter color backdrop, which actually looks better for viewing the weapon skins, especially more like animated or glowing skins. So let's take a look. Obviously, there's several different Island Glow sets, so some people may think that, well, they're kind of lazy, and in fact that is kind of true. The devs are a bit lazy because the first skin was the Island Glow Orange, and then the Island Glow Indigo, which actually looks pretty cool, and now the Island Glow Green. Now, yeah, the devs are fairly lazy. The Island Glow Orange and Island Glow Indigo, they're really identical except for color, even down to the smallest detail. But swapping between the two and the green, you'll notice that the pattern changes from like a tribal pattern to a little bit more of a leafy kind of floral tribal pattern. So at least in this case, not only does the entirety of the design change, slightly, albeit, but the design does change, and the color changes. Surprisingly, kind of cool. Now, I wouldn't go as far as to say this is my absolute, like, favorite gun or anything, but I'd say that it's a decent camo. The green on the barrel looks a little bit funky, but I like it. And then if we look at something like the Nasher, you can kind of see the detail on the Nasher a little bit better. Now, obviously, it's going to be personal preference. There's the snub pistol, which surprisingly still has a decent amount of detail on it, despite the fact that it's obviously a pistol. And you've got weapons like the boom shot, which still look cool. It doesn't look overpowering, the design on the Boltok, so that's actually neat. Now the real test is, how does it look on weapons that are always ugly, like the Breaker Mace? It doesn't look bad on the Breaker Mace. I still think there's better weapon skins out there, but for a free skin, it's actually not horribly bad. So that's how you go ahead and go about getting the weapon skin, and that's what the weapon skin looks like on most of the guns, which is pretty cool. So now I wanted to share with you a couple of my better game clips to just give you guys a little bit of an idea. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot that really can be said. I can offer a few tips, but one shot, one kill is just one of those annoying game modes. You either love it or you hate it, which again is why I wish that we could do this in private custom matches. So this is a game clip that I took of one of the other matches. And now when it comes to this really close back and forth, players jumping around, I am definitely not the best at that. But I wanted to show this clip simply to let you guys know, always keep an eye on your angles. In this one shot, one kill game mode, it's not so much a if the enemy can see you, you can see them. There's a lot of corners and angles where you can't necessarily clearly see the enemy, or more accurately, you can't see the enemy's head, but from the angle that they're at, they can see your head. And like I said before, people like to jump around quite a bit and wall bounce and trick roll, and just they're hard to hit. So something to keep in mind, where it can be very difficult, but you may actually have an easier time hitting the shots if you go ahead and fire without actually scoping in. So keep that in mind, that not a hip fire, an aimed fire but without aiming down the sight will keep your peripheral vision pure or purer, and on top of that, it's a little bit more accurate as long as you're not moving. If you're moving as well, then the crosshair blooms and the accuracy goes down considerably. So moving and then standing still for like a half a second to take the shot will give you better accuracy than if you just shoot on the move completely. But always watch the sides, because most of the time players like to come up on the sides and engage you when you can't see them. This is another example of one of those annoying wall bouncing people, which, I mean, I get why they do it. It is effective in terms of preventing an enemy from being able to hit you, but certain moves like mantling over a piece of cover like that will slow them down long enough to where you can get a relatively clean shot on them. Just something to keep in mind when you select movements, whether he did that on purpose or he didn't, and it was just a miss button press or whatever. Keep that in mind, that certain movements will leave you far more open than others. Also, when you're dealing with a wall bouncer, it may in fact be best to just put damage on them so that you get credit for the elimination, or move in aim in the center of where they're at. Like this dude right here, who's bouncing back and forth, I'm not moving, and I just caught him in the middle, in between his bounce points, which in that situation it worked because he was the only person left and we had the numbers advantage. However, had it been like 1v1 where he was bouncing and I wasn't, it would have given him the advantage on shooting a stationary target, except the reticle bloom would be higher. So it's a coin flip as to a little bit of luck and a large amount of skill, or just a large amount of luck. But something that you may want to keep in mind if you have the numbers advantage. So this was actually a game clip from the match that I had just played at the start of the video, where I had 21 kills. Every map is going to be slightly different. I find Harbor to be slightly annoying because of the fog and the lighting. It can be very difficult to see exactly where the enemies are. And some of the time, they just pull off shots like this dude did, where he almost wasn't even aiming at me. So be very careful when it comes to that. Sometimes you'll run into that and there's just nothing that you can do about it. Sometimes it's server issues, sometimes it's ping, Sometimes it can be any number of different things. The other thing to keep in mind is enemies love to switch the spawns, which is actually what they were trying to do here. They were trying to get into our spawn and then have the spawns flip so that they would have spawn protection advantage and simply be able to engage you from behind. So always watch out for that little thing that says spawn swap, because then you know that the enemies are going to start spawning behind you. The other thing to do is to try and make sure that you always mark your target and keep your head down. So try to pick an area that doesn't have as many, I'm going to say lanes, so to speak, because that'll make it a lot easier on you. Also, enemies tend to get more aggressive, as these two enemies did when the spawns swap, because they know if they die, they'll simply respawn right behind you, and then they'll have spawn protection and have the advantage. So be prepared for them to rush you, or if they rush another player, be prepared to cover that player, as I did. So the first player basically acted as bait, so I could get a relatively clear shot on those enemies. Again, another game clip from the exact same match, where you can see the difference between spawn protection and no spawn protection. Again, with the enemies forcing into the edge of the spawn. And depending on the map, it is actually possible to flip the spawn and remain in the enemy spawn and flip the spawn again. So just keep that in mind. On certain maps like Regency, it is actually possible to do that, where you can be in the enemy spawn, flip the spawn, and the enemy will still sometimes spawn in the spawn that was just flipped. So effectively making it like free kills and just a whole battle royale of BS. But obviously, the situation is going to become more stressful the less players that are left, and once all the respawns are done, then it becomes more difficult. But sometimes I find just moving in a less erratic motion than what wall bouncers would normally consider is actually better, and just try to hold off. Basically, it's a war of attrition. So granted, we are down players, and if I don't want to remain on that piece of cover, because if I remain on that piece of cover, he can vault over the cover or pull me over the cover potentially. But you want to just try and run the time out. Now, it doesn't work in every situation, but running the time out also gives the teammate an opportunity to go ahead and flank or get to you. And basically, it's just a situation of whether or not you make a mistake or the enemy team makes a mistake first. I know I don't have the best gameplay, but I thought I did fairly good on that match. Now, this is the last game clip that I took, again from the same match. You can see how we're in our spawn, yet the spawn swapped again. And basically, once you get your medals done, keeping in mind that, unfortunately, some players may still need the victories, and that's where the spawn swap came in. You've seen I just had my head taken off by somebody who had just spawned. But you'll find that there's this one player who must have all of his kills done already, or I don't know if he just gave up and is intentionally trying to lose the match, but he'll just run out into the open and stand there. So if that's the case, and you have all of your medals done already, it's a 6 to 1/2 a dozen to the other situation. You could just let the enemy team kill you, but that would also lower the chances of your team winning, and some of your teammates may in fact need the win. So it really depends if there is a way to tell in game chat or not whether somebody needs the win or doesn't need the win, then you can do that. But I wouldn't recommend leaving the match. And this is something I had commented on my other videos, so I just wanted to take a minute and explain it. A lot of people say don't worry about staying in a game. And that was the dude that just kept running out and dying for whatever reason. I think he was done with all of his medals. But the whole thing is, with this game, the low number of players playing the event combined with just the lower number of players in the game period makes it so that the odds of you going through the process of leaving a match and then joining back into a match, chances are there's a relatively high likelihood, I would put it in my experience currently at a 1 in 5 chance of you joining back into the exact same match that you just left. So chances are the only thing that you're going to do is waste about 5 minutes of your time loading, unless you happen to be on a really good PC or like a Series X console. So I personally recommend, even if you're getting killed, stay in the match, at least to the match ends, so that you can possibly vote for a different map or possibly get on the better team. I know it sucks. These events can be a major pain in the butt to get these weapon skins. This one, surprisingly, for me, only took about 2.5 hours to do. Now, your luck may be different as the number of players that are currently playing the event diminishes. It might be more tryhards, or it might be easier to do because it's only those last-minute people getting the skins. I honestly don't know. Let me know in the comment section down below how you guys fared in getting this weapon skin. I'm genuinely curious. In any case, thank you all very much for watching. Do me a favor, if this video helped you out, smash that like button and share the video with your friends, as that greatly helps out the searchability of videos here on YouTube. And one last thing, what's extremely easy is to make sure you subscribe for more content so you never miss another limited time event or guide, tutorial, achievement guide, review video. You guys know I make all sorts of different guides, so definitely tickle that bell icon and make sure you have notifications on. Until next time, my fellow Gears, stay frosty.